Grand Prairie, Alberta, a thriving town of 55,000 with over 4,000 Métis. It's a historic community on the move, driven by the oil and gas industry. The Enbridge Northern Gateway project is among the opportunities being eyed. The area is earmarked for a $5.5 billion mega project, an 1,177-kilometer-long oil pipeline stretching from Alberta to the west coast. Invited to be partners are First Nations and Métis, who are being offered jobs and a 10% share. It's projects like this that the Métis Nation wants to be a part of. Although Métis do not have treaties or a land base, under Section 35 of the Canadian Constitution, they are an Aboriginal people with a distinct culture and historic connection to the land, traditional territories for hunting, trapping, and fishing.
We are a people with a strong entrepreneurial tradition who wish to fully participate in a growing economy, but at the same time, we expect to be fully consulted and accommodated on major economic projects affecting our traditional lands.
This is the Métis Economic Development Summit, bringing together Métis, industry, and government to network.
For me, Grand Prairie is an important place to begin these regional engagement sessions on Métis economic development. It's a place of much promise, of opportunity, and of much business. The Government of Canada's priority, of course, is economic growth and job creation, and I believe that starting off these regional sessions here in Grand Prairie is a very positive way forward.
We are willing and eager to work with the federal and provincial governments on initiatives that improve the living conditions and economic opportunities of our people.
The summit is building on similar meetings which have occurred in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, Manitoba. It's part of a series of 5 regional forums that will take place across the Métis Nation homeland from Ontario west to British Columbia. What's learned here will be used to build a Métis Nation economic development strategy, a guide to effectively and efficiently collaborate with government and industry while promoting business and economic opportunity for Métis entrepreneurs and communities. George Desmarais with Ledcor Industries says his company has built a set of best practices over its 65-year history to forge meaningful partnerships with Aboriginal peoples, such as open communication and a willingness to involve communities.
Taking the best practices over the past of how they can participate as an equity owner, how they can participate in employment and training opportunities, and how can they participate in ownership and maintenance of the line. It's a lifelong opportunity.
The Vice President of the Métis Nation of Alberta says industry is only now realizing the Métis are an untapped source of labor.
Industry just didn't go to the Métis and really display the sincerity and the respect that they should. But this has started to happen now because what we're finding, there are more people, more professionals getting involved. So we have people that are very capable in almost any position within oil companies.
Métis women also have a role to play.
That's right. We have women who are working in engineering. We have women that are working in all kinds of industries. They have trades, and they're a part of this process, and they need to be included and incorporated. It needs to be a collaborated approach to make sure that they're just as successful, and that when these opportunities are in their backyards, that they're the ones that are working and benefiting from them.
Métis lawyer Jason Madden cites a newly signed accommodation agreement between the Métis Nation of Ontario and Detour Gold as the dawn of a new era that'll not only generate revenue, jobs, and economic opportunities, but it's a template that could be replicated in other areas of the country.
Well, I think we've known about the duty to consult and accommodate, and we've been trying to work with proponents as well as with government in order to include Métis in that process, and I think the Ontario is the first one to kind of, now we've moved from the consultation stage to into the accommodation stage.
The Métis Nation of Alberta and the Métis Nation British Columbia are looking for the same success in trying to secure a long-term lucrative partnership with Enbridge Northern Gateway project. And although Enbridge has invited both to be partners in the process, it also realizes there's more work to be done.
I think one of the presentations we just heard from the legal counsel was about the ongoing court cases that are going forward in Ottawa. And a lot of the court cases are actually going in favor of the Aboriginal and Métis people about consultation and what needs to be done. So I think we need to be cognizant of that process, and that we need to continue to consultate with the Métis.
I welcome this Western alliance that we will have with M&A welcome our industry partners, the oil and gas in this area and where I live. They play such a major role in us moving forward as a Métis nation.
But so we're not building a labor force for Gateway. We're talking about building a labor force for the North.
To prepare, Enbridge is spending $1.5 million for Aboriginal job training. Whether it's pipe fitters, caterers, health and safety workers, truckers, welders, or tugboat operators, there are many jobs and many skills required. Meanwhile, Métis Capital Corporation, which provides small business loans, are ready to assist Métis entrepreneurs trying to get a leg up on the competition with financial support for expansions, purchasing equipment, or starting a new business.
If a client's having trouble getting access to commercial financing through us, it's because they haven't got a hold of us. Once they get a hold of us and we understand what their needs are, we're going to do everything we can. We're going to do as much as any Schedule A bank will do. I'll tell you that. I know that because we've got our clients coming back saying, we just prefer to deal with you folks. Right.
Opetikasan Development is regarded as the most successful Aboriginal capital corporation in Canada, having facilitated the creation and expansion of hundreds of businesses, which have generated thousands of jobs. But Métis National Council President Clément Chartier has a word of caution.
Just a note on that, sometimes our success is seen by governments as saying, well, we don't have to deal with the Métis are doing well on their own. But that's a false notion, because in order for us to continue doing well, we do have to have the cooperation of industry and government.
While most Canadians aren't aware of the dramatic economic transformation taking place in a number of Aboriginal communities, for the Métis Nation, the winds of change are blowing stronger.